You're nobody until you put 30 years of work in. Uh-oh, what happened here? What are we doing with our work other than just like putting it in hard drives or Instagram? I don't know, the number one rule in the street is...
All right, we're back with another episode of Walkie Talkie. Today we got Cisco. Cisco, what's up?
What up, y'all?
Can you introduce yourself for the people out there?
Yes, my name is Cisco. My family, friends call me Francisco. I am a street photographer based out of New York and with a focus on everyday life and street culture.
Yeah, where are we shooting today?
We're just gonna keep it simple, just go my normal route, probably just go up Broadway on the 6th Avenue and then, see what comes along.
Cool, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. What camera are you shooting with today?
Today I got the Nikon FM2, 28 millimeter lens, war camera. I think Don McCullen used it. Great camera for street. I could drop it, I could take it anywhere, and so far it's durable. You know, based on the places I've been, it's I need something like this.
You were shooting digital for a while before maybe like 2023 when you went back to film or came back to film?
I was a big X Pro 3 guy, Fuji X Pro 3. I still am. I still use that camera. I thought that camera broke during Pride on, what was it, 23, I think it was? I was in the fountain. Everything, you just lose your soul in that fountain. So I got it wet, I shot the hell out of it, and eventually it stopped. You know, the next day I thought it was dead, but it was actually the lens. But because of that, it got me to shoot film. It forced me to shoot film.
What was your path when it broke, immediately switched to film?
It was all I had. I was like, I could get another one, I just didn't have the funds. And then I had the family camera that my father had brought to this country from when we migrated here. So it was very sentimental to just like re-pick it up and learn it. And it was kind of like a challenge. I think by that time I was over digital. I thought it was a little, not easy, but I didn't find a challenge. I mean, I could burst shoot and get anything, without people realizing or seeing me. But for me, it was more about, the intention with film.
When you look back at your older work, it's a lot of color. It's a lot of color photos, a lot of vibrant color scenes. But then now when you look at the newer stuff, it's all like black and white. Was the switch to film, did that impact that switch as well? Or was there a different thing that kind of like made that trigger?
Of course, yeah. I love color. I was such a color guy. I still am. Switching to film is not cheap, it's not it's not sustainable, especially for what we do out here. But I like, I kind of also wanted to dabble with, just tap into black and white and see what that was all about. And I actually really enjoy the process now. It was a hurdle in the beginning, but I actually like the process of, making your own negatives and developing at home and all that fun stuff. So it's, I don't know, to me it's more rewarding. One thing that does come to mind is a series that I've been working on called No Soy de Aquí Ni Soy de Allá. And it's about hardworking people that are in this country. And I realized I've been drawn to that, just organically, I've seen that come across my way, and I found myself photographing that in a dignifying way, and a way to show people that, people are here to work. People aren't here selling drugs. People aren't here eating the dogs. You know what I mean? Like that's actually one thing that I look out for in the street is, hardworking people, because we're all migrants. We're all immigrants. When I see something that people can relate to and can just stop and really think, that's on my head a lot. As an immigrant myself, I was born in Ecuador and I grew up here in New York. It has always been part of my life. And when I picked up the camera, I don't know, it just came natural. It's just something I wanted to focus on. See, you got a smile out of that one. I love that. Here we go. See, like these guys are the backbone of the city. These guys on the bikes, without them, I mean, during COVID, like they fed us, They were the ones on the street delivering whatever it is that you needed. I want to show people that we're all similar. We're all alike. We're not here to to do bad things. It's a deep conversation, or it's a deep topic, because again, as an immigrant myself, growing up, I've experienced racism. I've seen all that. And through the power of photography, I'm using this right now as a tool to change that narrative and to change that perspective and let people know like what's up. I spent time at the border. I mean, I took it far enough that I went to Juarez, Mexico, and El Paso, spend time there, spend time in the tents, just to fully like get a better understanding of like, the current situation beyond like my experience. And it was deep. I came back with like a little PTSD. I couldn't shoot for a little while because the things that I saw out there, the stories that I heard, it was enlightening too at the same time, and beautiful. Beautiful in a sense that I was able to capture families and the positive side to what's happening out there.
So the Mexico trip was to contribute to a specific body of work?
To better understand it. It was a body of work that I had started. I feel like by traveling, it makes it easier, or it helps me connect even more with my subjects here in New York, or wherever I'm at. So let's say if I'm out in Africa, for example, and I'm here and I come back here in New York, I use that as a tool to be like, yo, I've been to your town, I've been to where you're at, I've been to your homeland, and kind of build a connection and a relationship so my subject understands that like, I'm not here just to like take. This part's always nice. These guys playing. Hey, there you go. Feel like I'm in this game right now. Gotta get in it. Shoot it this way. Here we go. Oh! Soccer's not my thing.
You were born in Ecuador?
I was born in Ecuador. Yep.
When did you come over to New York?
Family and I, we migrated here in '86. It feels weird saying that because it's like such a long time ago now. And the camera came with us. That was one of the things that came with us in our luggage and everything. Thinking about it, that's always, photography or a camera has always played a role in my life. And I remember it being my father's like prized possession. It was like la cámara. It was like that thing, I grew up in Peekskill, right outside the city. Ever since I was like 15, I was always drawn to the city. I was always in New York. It was just an attraction. There was always something, like the energy in New York, that really got me as a kid. I don't know if it was taking the train in or driving in, but like the graffiti is what just captured my mind as a kid. How
did it go from graffiti to photography?
Well, I didn't write. I'm not a writer. I just happened to be friends that were graffiti artists. Back in 2007, a friend of mine invited me to go to Brazil. And I said, oh, cool, yeah, sure, why not? I'm 27 years old, no responsibilities, no nothing. What better way to travel to another country than with a pair of graffiti artists, a group of graffiti artists? That really set it off, to be honest, because on the way to the airport, I remember I was at work, I was working in Midtown, on the way to the airport, just barely making it. But I just had the inkling to go buy a camera. Of all places, I go to Macy's. I pick up like a little Nokia, one of those little point and shoots, because at the time that was like, I don't know, I felt like that was a trend, like the ELPH cameras. I get to Brazil, and I was with my homie Wayne, Doc TC5, shout out to them, Sai, TC5. Out there at the time, you could do graffiti on the street. I don't know how it is nowadays. I just remember we landed, and they were just like, okay, we're gonna go paint. I'm like, just a kid, I'm like, this is cool. They're like probably like in their 40s, so they're men, they're grown men. And actually at one point, Wayne actually put me on to one of the walls. I actually had to draw and get up and do graffiti, which that's another story. That was the first part of the day. Later that night, we're like, all right, we're gonna go hit up some tunnels. And we're in the middle of Rio, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't paint, obviously, because whatever I tried doing just it doesn't compare to what they have. These guys are legends. They're old school graffiti writers from like the 80s. I saw these guys get up and do their thing, and they looked like children playing. And it was very like interesting to see these grown men just like doing what they love and just freely with no worries. Because again, they, in Brazil at that time, they were just able to write graffiti as long as it wasn't like tags, as long as it was like something, you know, eye-catching. So while they were doing their thing, I'd go in my pocket, I'm like, well, let's see what this thing can do. So I pick up the camera and I'm like photographing them in the tunnel, and there's cars zooming back and forth. And then I just thought about college and I was like, wait a minute, shutter speed, it could get the light effect, you know? So I slowed it down and I was able to capture the lights moving at the same time. There's all this movement happening, and I was hooked. I was like, wow, this is dope. So at one point I felt like we were all dancing, you know? The cars are moving, they're painting, I'm moving around. I'm like about to get hit by oncoming traffic, but I was just in that moment. When we got home, or when we got back to the hotel, Airbnb, whatever it was, they were like, oh, so what'd you shoot? And I was like, oh yeah, here you go, check this out. And they were like, this is so dope. Like, this is dope, like, respect. And I was like, what? In my mind, these guys are legends and they don't really give respect to anybody that easily. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what? Word? They're like, yeah, nah, this is really good. Like, keep it up, you know? And because of that trip, I just instantly started documenting that whole experience with this little point and shoot. This was all '07. So as of '07, I started just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of shooting my surroundings or documenting my surroundings, not even knowing anything about street photography. I just thought it was cool that I had a camera and was able to make these images of the life on the street. As time went forward, I found myself just walking the streets with this little point and shoot, and you know, it was just like I don't know if it was therapy or what, but I was just creating art, I guess. I don't know what I was doing out there. I never thought that I would be at this point where I am now, like I'm a full-on photographer, I guess. You know, just at first it was like a hobby. At first it was just something fun. It was just something, you know, something I like doing.
You've said before that you really didn't start taking it seriously until like maybe 10-ish years ago, which was like
Right.
2015. What happened between 2007 2015 for you to get from like just taking your camera to like taking it seriously?
I started building a body of work and I started seeing what was coming to light, what was speaking to me. So what happened was just consistency. You know, again, back to graffiti, one big lesson that came out of that trip was that you're nobody until you put 30 years of work in. And I think Wayne or Doc said that, what they meant, not something literal, it just meant the consistency of it. You know, a lot happened between 2007 and 2017. 10 years of like using the camera. You know, life happens. So photography also helped me overcome some obstacles, overcome fear. And I'm a big advocate for talking about photography and how that is a good way to kind of like overcome your fear and have some self-confidence, because you have to put yourself out there. You have to talk to people. You know, you just can't, I mean, you can only take so much, but like, it's really important that you know, make yourself present and put your heart out there. 2009, I was living in the city. I was living in the Upper West Side. Guess who my neighbor was? Martha Cooper. Had no idea she was my neighbor. Had no idea who she was, but I knew her from somewhere. And I would always see her in the subway. But I remember I was moving out in 2015, and I saw her on the street. And I remember I ran up on her and I was like, oh, I'm like one of your biggest fans. Like she really was the influence. She was the only photographer I kind of knew because of graffiti. She was the only photographer that actually inspired me in the beginning. You know, she's got this really good book called New York State of Mind. I remember I would just look at the book and then I would just get on my bike and just ride around the city and just, you know, capture whatever came my way. But because of that book, that book is incredible. So she's not only known for the graffiti, I mean, she's a legend. But in 2015, I was able to, she was on the corner of my street documenting these performing artists from France. And I remember I was like starstruck. I was like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And what I did was I was like, wait right here, don't move. I told her to stay put. I ran upstairs, got my book, and at the time I was about to move to Virginia. And I was like, I've been documenting New York this whole summer because I'm moving and I'm gonna miss New York. Can you just sign my book for me? And she smiles, she's very sweet, soft-spoken. And she signed the book. It says, to Cisco, best of luck in Virginia. But yeah, that was an interesting time because, at that time I was supposed to move to Virginia and I had all these signs that were like kind of just like telling me, holding me back. And I remember at one time I was going to work, I was like all in my head, I was like, man, like, well, I'll get a little personal. I was married. It was a year-long marriage and it didn't work out. And that was like one of the biggest issues that we had was she really wanted her life down south. And I was such a New Yorker and I couldn't make that commitment. And she had already moved down there. I stayed back. I said, you know what? We had just got married. She moved down there. I'm back. I was like, I just got this big job, like one of the highest paying jobs I've ever had. Big position, the whole nine. And I was like, let me stay until I get my bonus. That way we can use this bonus money for a down payment or something to start our lives. Yeah, during that time, there was a lot of self-reflection and there were always these signs that were telling me to New York is it. And I remember one morning I was going to work right here on 5th Avenue on 36. And there's literally a sign that says, New York City, the best is yet to come. Oh, long story short, I stayed. And photography kind of not saved me, but gave me this, it helped. It helped get through that. It was a tough time. It was, who wants to get married and divorce in a year and, while all your friends are living their lives and just beginning and this and that. So photography saved me from that, from a lot of, regret or self-conscious thoughts or whatnot. 2017 comes along and I end up losing that job. And I just remember being like, oh no, the world is just on fire now. What am I gonna do? But they gave me a severance, which I never thought in a million years I would get something really nice like that. And I was like, wait a minute. I felt like this, the change this unleashed. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do what I want to do. Fuck this corporate bullshit. Fuck this path to success that I was fighting with and trying to do and be part of. That just wasn't me. Here I am using all my creative talents to fuel capitalism or consumerism. So I said, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. I like photography a lot. I thought that every photographer needed to go to Cuba. So what do? I book a trip to Cuba. And not just Havana, not just a vacation. I said, I'm gonna go get lost. I'm gonna go to the other side of the island. Ibarra, Santiago de Cuba. And I'm just gonna trek it. I got this severance, I got this money I worked hard for, and I'm gonna use it. That was probably the turning point. That was probably me being I'm serious about this. And I really put myself out there. Again, no inspiration, not really knowing who's who, just pure intuition. Thank God for digital cameras, because I was just shooting everything. I was on the bus, shoot, anything and everything. I've got some of my most favorite shots on that trip. Soon after that trip, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Colombia. I've always loved Colombia. That's part of my family's part Colombian from my father's side. So I was like, let me travel throughout Colombia. So right after Cuba, started in Cartagena, and I went all the way through the country from the north to the south. And again, beautiful experience, intuition. It was also a journey of self-discovery, which is a term there's a term I've been using a lot to describe my body of work, I guess. It's really has been a journey of self-discovery. So as I'm going through Colombia, like I am just reconnecting with my roots. I'm reconnecting with my culture. Again, being in this country and being like conditioned into this society, it's just, you know, I never grew up with Latinos in my childhood. I never really had that. The only people I spoke Spanish with was my family. So to me, it was like a way to actually reconnect with my culture through photography. Put me on the local bus and just head south. And I found the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Most beautiful people. Yeah, I mean, it's like I can't wait to go back now. Like, as soon as I get my citizenship, which is coming, I will be going back because I need to continue that journey. So soon after that, I went to Ecuador. I said, how am I going to travel these two beautiful countries? And at the time, Facebook was probably the thing. I was like, I didn't want my family to see me doing these things in Ecuador and be like, why don't you come? You know, so I said, you know what? Now I want to see where I'm from. The last time I was there was 2007. And that was with my parents. But this one was solo. You know, this one was like on my terms. And again, I did the whole country. I did from the north to the south. But Ecuador is like so beautiful and it's so big that like I couldn't do it in that whole time span. Each of these trips were probably like about almost a month. 2018 came along and same thing. I'm like, you know, now I'm like, okay, street photography. I remember buying a book called Street Photography Now or something like that. And I used to be like, this isn't street. The hell is this? Thinking I knew what was street. But then I saw the works of like Jamel Shabazz. Actually, I've seen Jamel Shabazz's work a long time ago, before I even started. But he's been a big inspiration behind a lot of my work because I like the fact that he speaks on dignifying people. He had a show this past February, I think it was, at the Bronx Documentary Center. And I just remember walking in and being like, whatever I'm doing I'm on the path. Whatever it is that I'm focused on, whatever it is I'm doing it with the camera, this solidifies it.
What gave you that signal?
This is work.
Meaning that you saw your work in his work?
Yeah. Yeah. I see a lot of respect. You know, and I think when you're in the street, I'm not aggressive. I'm not like, let me go over here, let me go there, you know. I don't fuck around like that, you know? I mean, there's people that can do it gracefully. I don't know. The number one rule in the street is respect. You command that respect, you show your intention, and you're gonna get rewarded. So I see a lot of that in his work. And the way he speaks about it and talks about it, you know. Now that I'm in this world, I've gone to his shows, I've listened to him talk, and I'm just like, wow, this is right. Dignity. Can't just take something, you know, extract. Somebody said that. I think my cousin, like, you can't extract. You want to give it back. That's why, like, when I take photos, I make it a point to give it back if I can. 2019 comes along, and I just remember being like, I'm going full force, like, traveling again. I am just at it. Went back to Cuba, went to Mexico City, fell in love with Mexico City, went to Morocco. Morocco was like, I felt like it was my birthday. Everybody was so lovely. And I just remember there were like some friends, ex-friends or whatever. People here in the States were like, yo, you gotta be careful, you might get kidnapped out there. Or saying like very like, I'm like, what? Oh shit, look at this dude. 250. Yo, my dude. Yo, you mind if I get a shot of you like doing your thing?
Where you putting that at?
I'll give it to you. Let's hope it goes into a gallery space. That's it. Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Let's show you my Instagram.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you my card. Let's see. How does this work? How do you do this?
What black and white film do you shoot?
Tri-X 400. Uh-oh. What happened here?
So what does this do?
Pop quiz. Pressure plate. This is where I start the GoFundMe for Cisco getting a new camera. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so 2020, the world stops. I was like, what am I gonna do? First thing I did was I bought a bicycle. Had no choice but to document the city. The empty city of New York. That was interesting. That was an interesting time. I always ask people what they did, what they captured. What was their 2020 like? I remember looking for anything that moved. There was nobody out there. But it was actually pretty liberating too, just being able to like ride around New York with no traffic. I remember just shooting down like Broadway or Fifth Avenue. Ooh, this gentleman right here. Señor, ¿puedo tomarle un retrato? Aquí con la moto está súper. No, contigo.
Oh, conmigo.
Sí, sí. Es como tú eres el cabo y ese es tu caballo.
¿Tú me haces conocido?
Eso, perfecto.
¿Tú me haces conocido? ¿De dónde eres?
Yo soy de Ecuador.
Ecuador.
¿Me conoces?
Parece que te he visto a algún lado, pero no me...
No todavía.
No... ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Dice de dónde?
Ya. Hermano.
Ok, te busco ahí.
Gracias,
está por ahí.
ok. Sí, me
Yo
buscas.
tengo un video por ahí también de que...
Oh, sí?
Are you a full-time photographer now? Or do you have a job and then it's on the side?
Yeah, I guess I'm a full-time photographer, but not paid. I have my own business. I have clients. I do graphic design, art direction. So if anybody needs a logo, branding or whatnot, please help me pay the bills. As I try to become a full-time working artist, which is, you said it. Quit your 9 to 5 to work 24 hours a day. Can you just stay just like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, just as you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smile.
No, just yeah. You guys are just.
Talk.
You guys are models. Nah, I interrupted the moment, man. I'm Cisco, by the way.
Pleasure.
Your
Nice
name?
to meet you. Sam.
Sam? Abdul.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Yeah, you guys look like just
Thank you.
you're
very
having a
much.
good time right
So,
now.
Should I give you
Yeah.
email or something? You
Yeah. Perfect.
said? Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good
brother.
luck.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Take care.
I'll send it.
Huh?
Where you from?
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
But I'm a New Yorker. Ecuador born, but I was raised here. Thank you.
Morocco, Marruecos.
Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
What part?
Best.
Fez.
How do you think your photography has evolved? Your photography style, the way you shoot, since like, say 2017 till now?
It's more intentional, I'm more patient now. I think it's more, just more character, if anything. So sometimes it's just a matter of like challenging yourself and putting yourself out there, having the courage to talk to two grown men, interrupting their conversation, So I don't know if it's the photography that's evolved or it's me, but that's how I see it. It's just allowed me to be more tapped into the street, tapped in with people, everyday people, which I love because, when you get that spark to go out and shoot, it's like freedom. You can go anywhere and fearlessly just really capture humanity. You see like that gentleman back there, like it was like, we were talking, we're going back and forth, and then he was like, he's from Morocco. I was like, we're like going back and forth on Morocco. I was like, yo, I've been there. Now he's like, I got a house. I know the police.
What about evolution of influence? Like who's now inspiring you versus who was back then?
You are. No, I'm serious. People like you, seeing people that are consistently out there is like, that inspires me a lot. I don't care what level you're in, you could just begun, but like what's his name? Eli from The Young Kid. He's always out, and I love that energy. Isael Flores. Photographers who I see in January, in February, the reason I'm name dropping is because they inspire me, It's like it makes me feel good that like I'm not just out here by myself. I'm trying to think who else influences me right now, who inspires me. Wayne Lawrence. He's another one. Wayne Lawrence has been an inspiration. He came out with a book on Orchard Beach, which was pretty cool. That's a project I've been working on for a couple years now, is documenting the beach. You know, when people think of Orchard Beach, it's got this stigma to it that I don't agree with it. You know, it's Chocha Beach. I'm like, it's actually an interesting life there. In the Bronx too, of all places. It's like, it's tough. It's a challenge. But I like going there because you don't really see many photographers. In fact, it's me and it's usually me and this other guy that's there. I used to go a lot. This year, just because of work and the zine and I've just been so busy, I've only been able to go a couple times, but there's so much happening out there in a good way. The reason there aren't that many photographers out there is because you have to take a bus, and it's like the train all the way to the last stop, and then a bus.
When did you start documenting Orchard Beach, and then why?
I would say like 2016. Why? Because there's culture out there that I think is overlooked. And when I stumbled upon Wayne Lawrence's book, I was like, wow, he really got it, you know? And he does a lot of portraiture work. You know, it's kind of like, why are we out here? Why are we in Midtown? Why are we in 23rd or whatever? Why are we in Manhattan? I don't know if it's a project. I use that word loosely now. I don't know. Project is like subject matter, I guess, or location, as I document New York City. Only because there's not many people are doing it. So who's gonna tell the story of Orchard Beach? The stigma, you know, or me? There have been some great photographers. Ricky Flores, for example. He had a good exhibit out there. But going out there, man, there's so much life. There's the parking lot scene is one thing. The beach itself, the boardwalk. I guess let's go to 42nd and catch the N or the R to the L and then go.
What's over there?
Oh, well, the gallery space.
The gallery space.
The outdoor gallery space.
All right, let's go. Talk to me about My Eye Got Lazy. What is it? Why is it?
Because my eye got lazy. A friend of mine during Art Basel of 2022 mentioned that. I was so inspired. I was so happy with like what I captured during that week at Art Basel. I was like everywhere. And I got to, I even got to shoot Bobby Shmurda, and I was telling him, I was like, yo, like I was here, I was there, Bobby Shmurda, the whole nine. I was like going insane. Like, what'd you get? He's like, I would have shot that, but my eye got lazy. It's like, I would have shot this, but my eye got lazy. And he kept saying it. And I was like, and right before that, we were also talking about the art world and how polarized it is. And I was like, that's it. That's gonna be a cool t-shirt. And I was like, no, wait a minute. That's going to be the zine that's gonna, you know, put on the community. At the time, we were also talking about how, again, I was saying how polarized the art world is and the photography community is. Like, why don't we stop being so separated? I mean, we're all in this shit together. Why don't we just like start seeing our work together some way, somehow? So that was one. What are we doing with our work other than just like putting it in hard drives or Instagram? So another reason was basically to give people a space to showcase their work beyond social media in the physical. The zine was highly inspired by like Hamburger Eyes, for example. That was a big influential magazine back in the day. Frank 151 was another publication throughout the 90s that was free. So that's where the whole free concept came out. So My Got Lazy, basically in short, is a platform to showcase photographers beyond social media. And also, you know, my way of like tapping into topics that us photographers run into, right? So for example, like one of the concepts was spirituality. And how does that come across your path as a photographer? And that really brought in some really, that's like one of my favorite issues. The sports issue, very literal, but also sports. How does sports come across your lens? Again, by doing these projects, it allows me to be a little bit more creative and double dip. So basically, like for that sports issue, we did trading cards. I do believe you got a hologram card out of it. But yeah, I mean, you know, the zine just kind of started simple. You know, at first I did the first two issues like I remember on the flight home from Art Basel, I designed it on the flight and dropped it. That week, I said, I'm gonna plant the seed during SantaCon. So the second issue was like the next week. I mean, I was amped. I was telling everybody about it. I was like, yo, this is it. This is gonna be, I was so happy about it. Also, after that, I was like, okay, this has a lot of momentum, but also like I want to, like, I need a partner. I need a creative partner. I like to work that way. So that's when I invited John Andre to join in as a creative partner / co-founder as well. And he's actually somebody that I trust and, understands this tree. We were both very aligned on our meanings of photography and street culture and so on. What's up? Oh, Tree, what up?
What's up, brother?
What's happening, man? How are you?
Over here in my yard, protecting the yard.
He secures the wall. He makes sure that nobody messes with the wall. He's part of the project. You've really become part of it.
I'm here and I support anything that comes with history.
Yeah.
Of people, countries, wherever
Everything,
they're from,
man.
we gotta show it's still alive. Doesn't matter now. We have the new generation. They gotta learn where they come from.
That's the tree. He was the first person to come by when I was installing the wall or painting the wall, to be like, anybody mess with this wall, they got to answer to me. I thought I was like fucking around, but kick some guy's ass. Yeah.
Speaking of tree, earlier you said the first couple zines were planting the seed. What do you hope that grows into?
It's a wild flower right now, man. It's grown beyond the zine right now. It's grown into a brand. Right now, it's allowed me to have a space, an outdoor gallery space. I hope it grows into freedom for me to express myself through the art of photography. I mean, that's the goal, right? Isn't that the goal as an artist, is to be able to have that freedom to create? I can proudly say that I have this gallery space now on the street that is, again, growing and becoming more than just photography. It's allowing me to connect again. You're like Tree. I never knew Tree. Now he's like my bodyguard. And you do not want to mess with him. That's cute. There's some really interesting plans coming up. Hey, Don Manuel, el alcalde. ¿Qué tal? ¿Todo bien? Jay. What up, Jay? What's happening, brother? By doing something like this, it just gives people it's helped give people some positivity, some excitement, something to do. This is the second exhibition based on Ecuador. The first one we did was on Isael Flores, Puerto Rican photographer. I had just come back from Puerto Rico. I went there for a wedding. When I was there, I brought my camera, of course, and I got to see the situation, the political situation. Not that I went there for that, but I always knew something was happening, but I saw it firsthand and I was like, whoa, this is messed up. So when I came back to New York, at the same time, Isael asked me if I could help him do some sort of activation during the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And I said, well, I don't have a gallery space, but let's get together. So we got together here on the corner of Maria Hernandez Park, and he was like, yeah, he was planning on, he wanted to print his photos and put them, he was thinking we were just gonna print them and put them on the fence and people can just take them. And I was like, bro, your work is worth so much more than that. My first idea was to do a wheat paste situation, get all like graffiti, incognito style, and start tagging doing something JR related. But I can't get in trouble. So when he pointed at this wall, I noticed there was graffiti on it, but it was a bunch of toys. It's just a bunch of scribble scrabble. And I just went inside, I talked to the owner. Just like in street photography, I showed him my intention. I said, yo, I have an idea. I have a concept, and I'd love to use your wall as a gallery space for the parade. And he was like, I love it. You can do whatever you want. Just know that people are gonna ruin it. And I was like, okay. let's see what happens. We set up the wall. I framed all the photos. We sequenced everything. We did a whole installation. I made sure to hand paint on the wall because I wanted to be present. I didn't want to just do photography and slap it on the wall and leave. But the whole concept was just to leave it up. And what I love about this too is that there's lights at night when it shines down. It's beautiful. It's like, 24/7 gallery space. So that was a hit. I mean, the big takeaway was the fact that like all these people from the community were like curious as to what I was doing. And then also they loved the concept that the opposite happened from what the owner mentioned. People protect it. And now you got Tree, you got Jay. I don't want any violence or anything to happen, but you want to take one down, you got to answer to them. And that's another story. But overall, it's just a really, it's been a really fun project, enlightening project, just to like connect again with the people here and give them something, like Jay right here. I know he's always in the corner, always like doing his thing. It's been quite the journey, and it's to me it's really fulfilling, And what's next after the zine? I think this is it. I don't know. Hopefully, I can take it to different boroughs, but it's something for people to really come in and enjoy and see who your neighbors are. Understand, like, get cultured, get enlightened. As Tree said, these installations, I want people to have these conversations about what they're seeing. There's a lot of intention behind it. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of meaning behind what we're putting up. So, and then the second concept was on Ecuador. My community, my Ecuadorian community was asking me, when are you going to do one in Ecuador? Yeah, I was like, let me think. And I'm like, wait a minute, Ecuadorian Independence Day is coming up, August 10th. So I said, all right, the second show will be on Ecuador. And another reason I wanted to do Ecuador too, not just because people are asking about it, was in the photography community. I've been asking people, like, where are the Ecuadorian photographers? And not many people know of Ecuadorian photographers. I can name like 10 Puerto Ricans, 10 Mexicans, Peruvians, Colombians. But when it comes to Ecuador, there's a little underrepresentation there. So I also wanted to create El Primer Grito, as the Independence Day is called, a cry to unify the Ecuadorian community and see who is putting out the word. And I got in contact with 6 amazing photographers: Linda, Vicente, Ana Maria, Sophie, Pepe Hans, Leo. I mean, they came through and they saw my vision. I talked to them, I invited them, and they blessed me with like amazing work for me to showcase. And I can't be any more thankful for that. 3 of them are Ecuadorian, from Ecuador.
So do you have a next one? You haven't, like, what's going up next?
No, we don't. There's some ideas right now, but I'm just so busy, like, still building off the Ecuadorian like momentum, or this exhibition's momentum, that like I want to see where that goes. And then we can think about the next one. How does it fit into this community? How does it fit into this space? So I want to make sure that it's intentional and that people can relate to it. And stay tuned, because this is year 2, right? Or year 3. So we started with the zine into gallery space, and now who knows?
Back to the zine.
Back to the zine. What's up, brother?
You have like an overall goal with this? Like, do you want this to be a functioning business on its own, making money, or do you just like?
Oh yeah, of course. I want all the money you can send me. No, the goal to all of this, right now I'm learning. I'm just taking it all in. I don't, like I said, the impact it has on communities is one aspect of it. I'd love to have my own space. I'd love to get into that realm of directing galleries and shows. That's something I never thought I'd get into, but I'm loving this process. So maybe the goal is to maybe someday work with an actual gallery space, like a big accredited space. Whomever, let me curate something for you authentically and real.
How's it funded now?
Oh, it's all self-funded.
Self-funded.
Yeah, right here. Look, it's all I got. I got $20 to my name. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm always looking for help for sponsors, and it's been the most challenging part. I thought that I would have help in that sense, but
Because the zines are still free, right?
yeah. So the zines are, I mean, I believe. ¿Qué piensa?
No, it's nice because I'm always looking at it. You guys
Yeah?
always change it.
Where are you from?
Puerto Rican.
Ah, okay.
But born here. I think maybe you took the picture of me
Oh,
at the
maybe.
Puerto Rican parade.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that you were walking by and just.
Well, because I live up the block, and my future son-in-law owns the barbershop.
Oh, get out.
Yeah. That's me.
Oh,
that
there
he
you go.
took. He took the picture of me there.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to meet you again and connect.
Follow you.
You're gonna follow me. I'm gonna get a haircut from your. What's his name?
His name is Frank.
Frank. Francisco. And Frank. I'm gonna get a fade.
Come, I'm gonna introduce you to him. Frank.
Frank. Oh, Frank. I've seen you before. Well, let's connect, man. Let's connect somehow, and then maybe. Yeah. Maybe we could
Call Instagram. Yeah, we could do
connect
something.
somehow, like,
Yeah.
and then you got Fidel right here. He's off today.
Cisco, finish the sentence. I take photos because.
I take photos because it gives me a voice. That's it.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Walkie Talkie. Cisco, thanks for hanging out with me today. Can you let the people know where to show you some love?
You could find me at Cisco NYC. Whoa. Before I even go there, Wall, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for having this platform for our community. So where you can find me is Cisco NYC on Instagram, and also My I Got Lazy is the publication that I run. So again, handle is Cisco NYC, My I Got Lazy, and if you want my number, just DM me.
All right, man.
That's it.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Now when they see us in the streets, all they wanna do is take pics, and I'm like, okay.